Hello and welcome to the Driver Hire podcast. My name's Tony from Driver Hire Croydon and Sutton.
Hello, I'm Gary from Driver Hire in Colchester.
We represent two of Driver Hire Nationwide's network of over 100 offices. And we decided to get together to create a series of regular podcasts for people who want to know more about driver hire, but principally to provide hints, tips and tricks to help our drivers be the very best that they can be. Hi Gary, how you doing?
Very well, Tony. Things are going well this week.
Good. We have a few bits of update, a few bits of news. The first bit of news is that, as you probably noticed, there's three of us on this group and not two this week, Gary. So if I could just introduce Jordan Tracey from Dundee and Perth office.
Morning, guys. You all right?
Very good, Jordan. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast as our first special guest, no less. So we thought it would be really cool just to get a different perspective. So rather than just listening to me and Gary rattling on at each other, we thought it'd be really cool this week to introduce a different dynamic. And Jordan, of course, being from Dundee, north of the border, the view may be a little bit different. So that will be good. And then the other bit of news, I just wanted to really just share a bit of a thank you. So regular listeners to our podcast will have noticed when they download this one that there's a change to our logo. So we've got a new graphic, and we must thank Faye Grist in our marketing department for coming up with that one for us. So thank you very much indeed, Faye.
And also, I'd like to thank you for sharing it around the network, the podcast, so we can get that out so more people hopefully listen to it and understand the benefits of working for an agency.
Yes, exactly. Brilliant. So thank you. Right. So this week's episode is all about why you might want to work for an agency. So, drivers will come to us for a whole bunch of different reasons, and we thought we'd just explore that between us. Tell you what, Gary, why don't you kick us off with some of the reasons why people come to you?
I'm going to start off with the first one, and the one that's most prevalent at the moment is they've lost their jobs. And they've come to us to find work, to either find a full-time job via us or a temporary job where they find a full-time job by their own means or steam.
Jumping on the back of what Gary said there about finding a full-time job, a lot of our drivers come in and leave with full-time jobs unintentionally. So we find that a lot of customers don't advertise vacancies externally. They use an agency for a shortfall, realise this guy's very, very good. They find him work, and all of a sudden this guy finds himself on a 12-week temp to perm, ready to leave us and join them on a permanent basis. So they're getting access to jobs they necessarily wouldn't have got off a job site purely by being a member of our agency.
Yeah, I've got a customer that does exactly that. They open a new depot, national company, opened a depot in this area 2 years ago now, and there's 12, 15 staff in that site now. Every single one of them came to them having worked for us first. So it is their recruitment method. That is the way that drivers get work with that company, is simply by kind of being on show, if you like, in that temporary role, and they'll cherry pick the best ones to keep.
Yeah, I would use the scenario, try before you buy. They have a few weeks, they like the driver. Oh, can we keep him, please? Then have a chat with the driver first about coming on board. Then they'll contact me and say, Gary, we'd like to keep this driver. How many more weeks can we have him for? That's how our main business keeps going week in, week out.
That's it. And I think that kind of takes the stigma of being just an agency on the high street off the wall, and you're becoming more of a recruitment partner in these scenarios. Word of mouth gets round, and all of a sudden you've got all these drivers' connections contacting you because they want to work in a similar place or the same place.
It is annoying as well for business-wise, because I've just had 6 drivers this week start full-time with 2 of my clients, which is great for them, but not so good at my figures this week.
But reputation-wise, you're the guy that's getting them through.
Oh, massively. In the month of September, I had 13 guys offered full-time jobs, which was excellent. 12 of them took them, and then now filtering through into the full-time companies, and the last ones were this week.
Fantastic.
So what other reasons do drivers come to you, Jordan?
I think one of the big players up here as well is the variety of work we do. We don't do 100% general haulage, for example. We do a lot of different sectors and different industries that involve the driving. So especially guys that maybe come to us green with little or no experience, to get an opportunity to be trained And they, as much as this is about finding work that they do enjoy, they get to try work they don't enjoy as well. Mm-hmm. Before they make that commitment to a permanent job without having a shot, they get in front of things and think, oh, that's not for me, or I really like this sort of work, and they can go and target their application somewhere specifically.
So would you say that as a relatively new driver, coming to an agency is a good way of getting a good variety of experience?
I would say so, yeah. My main reason behind that is I think the relationships that we have up here with our customers, they're built on trust. So the customer puts their trust in us to say, this guy is new, but we've met him, we've spent a good hour with him, we trust him, we think he's got his head screwed on, he's been assessed, and we believe that he's got a good competency level and that he'll pick the role up no bother. You can't get that off a CV. You cannot get that from a piece of paper. So I think the customer, the trust they have in us is invaluable to a new driver.
Something we do in Colchester, we really do push to have new passers come along, and we do put them out a day's training, and we ask them to go out with an experienced driver for the day. Because when they pass the test, and most of them being under the age where they've got CPC grandfather rights and they've done the 5-day CPC, they've done the module 4. So they know how to do a daily walk around check, and that's about it. So we teach them how to put a digicard in, how to do a proper walk around check for low security, because it's the real world and not a blank vehicle or an empty vehicle. And then how to use curtains, or whatever vehicle they're driving, how to use ratchet straps, all the things to give that driver confidence. So when he goes to work for us the next day, he is that much better driver, instead of, here's the keys, driver, off you go. And that's what happens most of the time in this industry, and it's very frustrating.
So another reason why people come to us is because of other commitments they've got. And so there's a balance around the things they do outside of driver hire and the things they do with driver hire. Do you have that as well?
We've got one guy who's a retained firefighter. So obviously his duties involve a lot of on-call work. So really the lifestyle of an agency really suits him. He can phone us and say, right, I can be available this day and that day for you. Can you fill that up for me? So he gets flexibility to work around his main commitment, and we can sort of backfill the days that he's not doing anything.
Yeah, we have quite a few actually. I've got one chap who's a chef in the House of Commons, and does all sorts of functions there. But on the days, and there hasn't been many functions this year. On the days he's not doing functions there, he drives for us. I've got a couple of guys that are primary carers for relatives, and we do work that fits in, or we offer them work that fits in around that. But I have to say, the key to success with these people is communication, two-way communication, and I've got absolutely no problem at all with the other things that these people do, but they let us know when they're not available. So there's trust and there's commitment, but most importantly, communication, and that's what makes it work.
The thing we do here is that we speak to our drivers every week, and we talk about the following week to make sure that we know of anything they've pre-planned, and then that way we're never wasting our own time or their time trying to find work for when they're not available. We're always singing from the same hymn sheet.
I mean, I work off an old-fashioned whiteboard of driver availability, and we have obviously got our ops system that keeps everything up to date, but it's quicker to look on the board to see how many class 1s, class 2s you've got available. And we're kidding ourselves if we don't have the availability correct, like you said, Jordan. If you found out they're only available Tuesday, Wednesday, and we've got them on our board Thursday, Friday, of course we've got Fred available. Well, Fred isn't available. He's looking after someone, or he's doing the firefighter job, or whatever it is. Yeah.
And another type of driver I have is semi-retired guys. Yeah, have any of those?
I have loads. And they're great. I've got to say, I do. They are definitely our strongest drivers, as in they'll always turn up, they're never sick, they always do a good job, and they care. That's the nice thing. And the clients all love them.
I think a big thing here as well for the retired guys is they enjoy the work. They're not going out there grafting all day because they're desperate to make the cash. They're enjoying retirement, and they're getting out to socialise with people. They're getting to talk to customers and their customers and build some relationships there too.
I've got a retired guy. He's got his pensions and everything sorted out, but he loves British Superbikes, and he follows them all around the country every meeting. So to keep his wife happy, he works for us 2 to 3 days a week to justify how much he's spending at the weekends when he goes away.
Excellent. We had a chap. He's worked pretty much every day for us for the last 3 years. But he walked in here and he said, "I've retired 6 weeks ago. I've decorated my house and now I'm bored. Can you help?"
3 years ago?
3 years ago, yeah.
And he's still with you.
It's still been working ever since, and a fantastic guy, really good guy. But for him, it's the social nature of work. It's I think you said just now, Jordan. It's not that he's desperate to come in for the money. It's that he wants something to do. He wants to be part of something, and that's great.
I think that speaks a lot about our ethos here at Driver Hire as well, that you're not just a number on the board. You're part of our Driver Hire family, you're part of the team, and you're treated like that.
Yeah, no, I hear and see that all the way through the Driver Hire network, and I think that's great. It's something that we're all very proud of. So another kind of driver that we have here, and quite a good number of them, is what I would describe as a career agency driver, and that's somebody who sees it very much as their job to be an agency driver, and they work full time. But thinking of the examples we have here, what they like is being able to say maybe 4 or 6 weeks into an assignment where perhaps they got a bit used to it, perhaps they don't have the same excitement as learning something new, and they phone up and say, can you find me something different to do? And it's not a problem. They haven't fallen out with anybody. It's not an issue. But to move on to something else, you get that kind of learning something kind of fresh, meeting new people. And I would say we have a real good number of those people here who absolutely, they're known by all of our customers. They get booked up months in advance for holiday cover and such like, and really, quite a foundation of what we do here in terms of our workforce.
Yeah, I was going to say about a third of my workforce is long-term agency drivers. I've got a few who are on a contract where they're guaranteed 40 hours a week, and we pay them standard PAYE. But most of them aren't even interested in that because they like to have as much time and flexibility as they want. So they might go to America for 4 weeks, and I'm not going to sit here and moan they're going for 4 weeks. I might cry because they might go in August. But I'm not going to be upset they're going away because they've worked really hard for their holidays, and they can take off as much time or as little time as they want. But they're on the books all the time, working all the time, and they consider us as their firm.
So it's their employer.
Totally.
Remember, guys, as well, I think that I've been here for a while and know how the agency works. These are the guys that know that to be up at 5 o'clock on Monday morning because the phone is going to ring, because they know that they're going to be needed. They just can't confirm it on a Friday. So they understand how the agency works and they respect that.
No, that's good. So we talked about drivers with other commitments, we talked about semi-retired people, and we've talked about career agency drivers. But often people are coming to us because they're looking for perm work, and they go with our blessing. We've got absolutely no problem with that at all. If that's what's right for that person, then that's absolutely fine with us.
And I think, for all it's sad that, that's now a driver leaving the agency. It's a pat on the back for them and a good well done. They should be open with us and talk to us about that, and it gives us a chance to back them on their way out the door. We're another reference point they can use when they're leaving the agency to go and start a permanent job.
Yeah. One of the things I do say, Jordan, on the back of what you said, I'm happy for them to say, next Thursday, Gary, I've got an interview with someone. And I would say, do you mind telling me who it is? Because if I know them, I will do a reference for you before you even get there, because you've been a good lad and I appreciate what you've done for us. That's
it. I think the biggest thing is, you go and get your permanent job, and if you ever need work again, you've left on good terms, and you've got that relationship there with Driver Hire that you can pick up the phone and say, right, I need your help again.
Spot on there. We have a lot of returning drivers because of that. What happens in the industry, people will lose their jobs, things go quiet, or they get busy again, and the amount of people will come back through the door again because we've looked after them.
So when guys go, they go with a pat on the back and a big well done from us at the office. We're proud of them and we're chuffed for them for they've got a full-time job and they're away to make a living for themselves. But they go with their blessing and they're still part of the family. They don't leave and never get spoken about again. We still keep in touch with the guys, and we understand where they are. And even if it's just a case that you need to help you with your CPC training this year, we're not just a recruitment firm. So there's more benefits than just getting the work from us.
Brilliant.
That's very nice to hear, Jordan. Thanks for coming and joining us today. It's been a pleasure and nice to have someone else's input to our podcast, and I hope you've enjoyed coming along.
Thanks for having me. Much appreciated. I really enjoyed it, guys.
Yes, thank you very much. And if you have enjoyed it, please do rate, review and subscribe. And we'll look forward to speaking to you again next time.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me too, guys.
You've been listening to the Driver Hire podcast, and thank you very much.
And as goodbye from myself, Gary Richards at the Colchester office.
And from me, Tony Goacher from the Croydon and Sutton office. If you'd like to get in touch with us, along with all the other driver hire offices, you can find us at driverhire.co.uk.
Thank you very much for your time. Bye-bye.